You first ask whether Chelsea as a team improved.
Yes.
From even minus the signings they've made. I think last season they improved. I think they ticked all the boxes. What their own.
It was easy because you're not in a big competition.
Before last season started, Chelsea
Chelsea,
what were you expecting for Chelsea?
My anticipation for Chelsea is always because of the amount of money they make.
No,
Yeah, because that's where we're judging Arsenal.
Because Chelsea is a team that they've already bought 3 players. They can work here. They're going to strike Amrana. So going to strike.
No, for them they can spend. They're not afraid
of
spending.
You. So you should not look at how they improve like other teams because they go big.
Okay, if that is their style of buying, and it's we saw that style of buying bring them to the top 5, and the transfer window is still on. Let us wait.
No, we're speaking from where we are now. Kati Biggie.
That is our spending.
Where do you see Chelsea? Let's say they are closing their season now. Their summer window. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where do you see Chelsea finishing as per now?
As per now,
they're closing.
They get top 4. They can be 4th.
Banang. Chelsea has gone, spent another 400 million in 3 transfer windows. That is this summer so far. The January transfer and last summer. 400 million gone. 2 billion, 1 point something billion, okay, before Maresca came in. 400 since Maresca came in. Omu yafuka munyi wanjaga yalwa million 8. Bamwitani? Yes, the Ukrainian. Ate abewakana bitanga ali mukomera nga bamumuza punishment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Chelsea has not improved. Of course, someone will say they have won a trophy.
By the signings they have made or
one, I'm coming. One, someone will say they have won a trophy. Better than what Arsenal have done. That's those funny banter things that people do.
European trophy.
European, so they say. Zinkaita Kachireka Cup, but they have gotten back to the Champions League.
Yep.
Due to the change of what? Bamariam Chakutano. Due to the change of what? Of the system as of this year. So my question, has Chelsea improved? Right from where I'm coming from. And then lastly, they have bought 3 players so far.
Yeah. 2?
3. Dilap, number 9.
Yes.
Pedro, the latest signing. Gittens. This is to add on these players. Modric. Modric. Felix.
Pedro Neto.
Madueke.
Christopher Nkunku.
Sancho against Christopher Nkunku.
Michael Jackson.
Pedro. Another Pedro.
Jackson.
Who else?
I think that's pretty much.
There is some other guy. There's a Brazilian.
They have
Vesco something. Yeah,
but they have this striker. They have a conference league. I think he just got injured. I've just lost his name.
I'm saying Chelsea has not improved. They have spent money. Gittens is another Madueke. If Chelsea has improved, it's only one area for me. It's that Dilap guy.
Pedro too.
Chelsea has not improved. Pedro does not add so much to Chelsea except numbers.
It does.
In what area?
In a conversion rate. Because I'm not replacing Nkunku, right?
We don't know yet.
Right. Not even put it. Nkunku is also there.
Yeah.
Because I even had Manchester United is having interest in Nkunku. So at Pedro's strength here, Pedro possesses what Chelsea might lack in some areas. Yes, Nkunku had the dribbling ability, passing ability, but what comparing Zababili, Pedro and Nacha Singapore. Of course, on aerial balls, Pedro is better than Nkunku.
Even that conversion thing is better.
The conversion is better than
if you look at
how many goals did Pedro score last season?
I think
10.
9.
10.
How many of those were penalties?
About 5. But it's good at converting his set pieces.
Yeah.
Which ones?
No, ujamade ku Brighton at least.
Nedda nyabo.
Yes.
Zekambabulire. The only improvement in that team, and Chelsea fans, you're going to hate me for this, but I promise you, you will see it.
What is
You're quick to buy. It is that deal-up guy. You now have a target man. Jackson is not a target man. Jackson is a run behind. Wakola runs in behind. Deal-up gives you the chance to have wingers, but your wingers must be very good finishers. That team still has only one good finisher, who again doesn't stay fit for long. That is Pedro. Sio no mupya oli omukadde wa Portugal. Neto.
This one is Joe Pedro.
Pedro has a very good shot but can't stay fit for long. Again, he's also not very direct. Madueke, he's a joke. That's Pepe. In fact, Pepe has a better conversion rate than Madueke. Gittens, the league is going to be too strong for him. He's too young. But he's also another Madueke. Madueke was like that, by the way, when they bought him. Everyone was making noise about him. Chelsea has not improved. The only thing they have improved right now is numbers. Team which was the same thing last season.
That's what they do, yeah.
Even last season, it was the same thing.
For Pedro, it's a catch. It's a catch. It's a sign that they're improving.
If a player,
I have a feeling is going to be an addition
Julie,
to them.
Yes. If a player is coming from a team like Brighton, we know Brighton has one of the best academies or best scouts. And your player is not being looked at by 1, Manchester City, 2, Liverpool, 3, Arsenal Football Club. And instead, he's being looked at by Newcastle, who, if they play Champions League football, they're not going to be in the Champions League again. We know how it goes. And you, Chelsea, as big as a club as you claim to be, you're the other guy who is looking after that player. It's
because those other clubs didn't have interest in that particular position for that player.
Arsenal doesn't need another number 9. We do.
I don't think you do.
We do.
I don't think that.
What about Manchester United? You don't need another number 9?
We had interest in someone else, but that doesn't mean that Pedro is a bad player or whoever.
No, it says something. I said about Chelsea. I mean, Kuka Brighton. How many teams wanted him? More than 3.
Yes.
Brighton Jews. Ben White was wanted by Arsenal, Liverpool, and some other team. Players that have caused havoc.
Chelsea are full at their Brighton, their academy.
Kukurea was wanted by Man City and Chelsea himself.
Yes, he's delivering. What is your
That's
argument?
my argument is that.
Pedro?
Yes, the argument because he's the only player you've been mentioning as if he's an improvement.
What position is the argument coming from?
I'm saying Chelsea has not improved everywhere. I've not even cut with defense, but it's in agenda. We both know the defense Chelsea has. Chelsea has no central defender. By central defender, I mean a commander. At Arsenal, you know Gabriel is going to command. At Man U, even there was they have a Maguire who can command the defense. Man City, we know Diaz. Many captains babirako ku team babanga basatu babana. Either your keeper is leading in that defense or your defender. There's a leading defender there. Then you have a real captain and then a midfield captain as well. Someone who reads the game at a very high level. Right now, Chelsea's midfield, Caicedo is top, right? But offers very little in attack. Chelsea still lacks another creative midfielder. But you have bought all the runners in the world. People don't realize how bad it is.
Predominantly forward. That's one who attacking midfield. That is one of their best.
But if you have Cole Palmer,
yes, they recklessly buy, but Pedro is not a loss to Chelsea.
It's a loss, and you will see it. He's a good, hard-working player. That's the only thing I can give him. Hard-working.
They got that person who is good on every
Chelsea.
And they have gotten him in Pedro.
Chelsea is a team that say they have money. One of
and that's what I meant.
So
they just buy.
So you have money.
Yes.
Clearly, instead of buying 2 players of 40 million, you could go for an 80 million player that changes your game to a whole new level.
The window is still on. You never know.
No, you can't buy those 2 forwards and you're still buying forwards. I promise you, they can't.
I think Chelsea can. Anyway,
a centre back, a central defender, right?
Yes.
They'll get one.
We're talking as per now. Because Chelsea fans are probably very excited about what they have done. Me, I'm telling them, don't be so excited.
I'm excited for them because I know chasinga kukunguku. Singa baleta I know chasinga kukunguku naligambe. Oh.
Talina chasinga ko. I'm singa fitness. If it's just pure talent, Nkuku asinga.
Yes, yamusinziza. But then the conversion rate is away.
Nkuku's problem is just injuries, but he's a better player than all those players.
Yes, on ground balls, on ground battles, but then on aerial balls, they have won something.
Where do you see? Let's say the window is closing right now. as Julie, Man U fan, where do you see, objectively, where do you see Chelsea finishing? They're in the Champions League, they're in the FA Cup, they're in the Premier League, and so on and so forth.
Being in all competitions, they might drop.
No.
Might drop.
Where do you see them finishing? To get at 4. Twagala labo, you stand. Ogambye bali improving.
Okay, they have improved. Like, when you get started in Mwambuza, when did you put on, give us that fantasy budget? When did
if you were given 250, I think.
And then I chose what I would buy in that money for Manchester United, and I told you it would improve Manchester United, not win for them a trophy. So Chelsea with buying Pedro doesn't mean they're going to win.
I'm not saying anything about winning. You can argument of me and I am saying they have not improved. You're saying they have improved. So where do they finish? So where do they finish?
The fact that they're in the Champions League, going for Pedro is a reason. So for them, they are going to improve a bit. They are going to improve a bit.
Which position do they finish as improved, as you're saying?
Yeah, they'll still remain in top 5.
That's not improvement.
What position?
You need to come out and put your chest out.
They'll be stagnant. They
5.
remain
Then you
in
have not
5.
improved. That's the reality.
So my point stands. Because improvement should be reflecting in the table, isn't it?
Not coming from down. They'll be around. Yes.
So my point stands, producer. Where do you stand on this bill?
No. What I think is you first ask whether Chelsea as a team improved.
Yes.
From even minus the signings they've made. I think last season they improved. I think they ticked all the boxes. What their own.
It was easy because you're not in a big competition.
Yeah, it was easy, but according to how, because people always had this whole thing of Chelsea, 1 billion, what, because they finished 10th, and then you come and get Champions League football, and on top of Champions League football, like a trophy, Kachireka Cup, you're competing in it, and you win it. That's one thing. Enzo Maresca coming into this season, they were like, we have fired Pochettino. Pochettino is not taking us anywhere. We're spending a lot of money in it. So Maresca comes in, he gets Champions League football already. It's an improvement from where they are. I know people will say, we always say, because I also say that 1 billion, the amount of money they spend, you should not be saying, we have improved because we are 5th. But the fact still remains that all improvements are coming from 10th, or 8th, until the 5th position. You improve, you get Champions League football, you dynamically, the team, like you would saw, because at the time they were in a title race, whether they dropped off. But from the Chelsea, it's like where United had finished. Then nobody next season fighting like top 3. You can see that what the manager wants to do. Now, whether the signings they are making improves them, that's where I don't agree. Because when you go for Gittins, you go for Delap, you go for Pedro Neto. I mean, you go with João Pedro. I don't see any difference with what you've been having when you had Nkunku, when you had Mudryk, when you had Sancho, when you had, because now Gittins
didn't appear so much.
And he didn't appear so much, but you had Sancho, Wamuzizayo, the same Sancho that you had last season. I don't think, in fact, he's the same prototype with Gittins.
Pedro can give you better.
With Gittins, exactly. So now, when you get Champions League football, you're looking for the next level. And the amount of money that the club is speaking of 2 billion, you expect that, not everybody at the same pace as Banana. Because as Enzo Maresca, imagine if they give that money to any other manager, or Ruben Amorim, or Mikel Arteta, they expect that you're chasing the big things. Because Manchester City, when they spend 250, in fact, from January to whatever, they're going in like 700.
By the end of this
by the end of this year. They do that not for Pep to be like, we struggled last season.
We improved.
We improved. They do that because they expect that money to be back in how you win trophies. So the amount of money Chelsea is spending, I mean, it's a whole chunk of money. But I expected them to attack this market in a different way. Like
I want to win a league. I want to win a Champions League.
Because you have the money.
Because I'm Chelsea.
Because other teams now, Arsenal will complain. Maybe sometimes we don't win because of how we buy.
When Arsenal, let me make my point for you, Julia. When Arsenal got back to the Champions League, do you know who they bought? Declan Rice. That's my point.
Yeah. Even
when you get back to the Champions League, that's what you do. You make a statement.
You see Liverpool. I like, people will say, whether people believe or don't believe that Florian Wirtz is that amount, but at least you can tell what the owners of Liverpool are doing.
Statements.
After we win, and people say like, they were lucky. Statement buys follow. Wirtz is like top 5 or top 3 in Bundesliga players last season. If you count Hurricane, you count Olise, you go for Wirtz. You lose one of your best fullbacks the league that has ever seen in Trent Alexander-Arnold. You don't go over now. We leave.
Let me go for the academy.
Over what like a Bradley Kwanga na yaba dollars. They go in for another statement buy in Frimpong. Whether people believe it's statement, they go like this. Andy Robertson Akadi. They go for arguably
the next one in line.
Left back there was in the league. They can buy Kakens. That is a team that has ambition to it. Now Chelsea, you're using the same strategy.
Yet you have more money than Liverpool.
And you have more money.
Where did you before last season started? Chelsea, Chelsea, what were you expecting for Chelsea?
My anticipation for Chelsea is always because of the amount of money they make.
Because that's what they were judging us.
Because Chelsea is a team that they've already bought 3 players. They can work here. They're going to also a striker.
No, for them they can spend. They're not afraid of spending.
Thank you. So you should not look at how they improve like other teams because they go big.
Okay, if that is the style of buying, and it's we saw that style of buying bring them to the top 5, and the transfer window is still on. Let us wait.
No, we're speaking from where we are now. Kati Biggie.
That is our spending.
Where do you see Chelsea? Let's say they are closing their season now. Their summer window. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where do you see Chelsea finishing as per now?
As per now,
they're closing.
They get top 4. They can be 4th. But I still think because last season.
Let's recap.
Yeah.
They can be 4th when there is 1 Arsenal with their squad. There is 2 Man City with their squad. There is Liverpool with their squad. There is
I don't see any other team there that
I see another team.
A surprise in every season.
Me, I think there is Newcastle.
You said anti-Newcastle with Champions League and everything. You see what happened.
I think they will learn a lesson from last time. They have not yet bought.
But for them, their squad is already.
There isn't even a rumor about them signing. The fact that they are going to.
They have only received rejections.
Because that's why I'm saying that Chelsea will make top 4 again. Because last season, my main problem was I used to tell Hazard all the time, Chelsea takes over because of that defense. When you look at the defense, they had job, but there they were. They still made top 4. So I do still think they need to improve their goalkeeper. And then they need to get one solid centre back. Okay, one, because I feel like Chelsea centre backs are the same. Like when you look at Adriobio, you look at Levi Colwill, you look at
there is no leader.
There is no leader, and they all like play the same side of football. And when you look at the teams you'll be competing with, because for example,
there is no X factor in that defense.
There's no X factor in the defense. The fullbacks do great, but then the partnership there they need to add on. I don't think in this market they have looked at.
For me, I would say if Chelsea, because of the pedigree and the name they have for themselves, and of course the pressure from the boss. You know the structure of the Champions League where you needed it. Structure of Champions League inache kugamba. If Man City doesn't make top 4 last season, if they had stayed in the later stages of that Champions League, you get where I'm saying, where I'm coming from. Because that the further you get into the Champions League, the more you try to focus on it.
Yeah.
Because it means a lot more to the 20 club. So Man City dropping out was a very big blessing for Pep Guardiola. I have a feeling why he did it intentionally, even to some extent. Because Champions League football, for Man City not to be in the Champions... No, I'm saying those last 2 games. PSG mkubi wanani. So, it was a relief because then he started focusing on the league. Before you know it was back in the top 4, and a club like that could not afford not to be in the Champions League places. But furthermore, that's where I'm coming from with Chelsea. Chelsea, the window was our leader. He has not improved. I'm standing on that. There's a player I'm going to see like the Liverpool player, Vats going to go get Deco, where I'm going to be like, okay, now that's business. The same way I don't think Man City has improved because they have improved their attacking. Their defense is still bogus. They don't have a number 2.
Why?
They still don't have a solid defensive number 3. They have an attacking one. We will see. We will see. Because
be there.
I will be there. Now, Vats is a statement player. That's a statement. No. That one can be Arsenal. We had them Champions League. Toilet decline race for 100 million. Statement player. Next sentence was you get it. Yes. Can you get a surprise player? Yes. It can happen. But right now we have to speak from where we are, Julie. We are speaking of hypotheticals only. Vats alizo kuja nabo era fala. Kyo nacho kisoboka. Naye ate era solo kuja sente ze nachikuba. Right now the chances are saying he will shine because he's a talented player.
Short term that Chelsea needs to improve for the sake of Champions League and all that. needs of nawe. But if you are looking at the in the long run, I think it's okay. It's just 23
No,
years.
what I think, can't you see what
with them.
Chelsea, the same problem I have with Arsenal with the way they buy is right now the same problem I'm having with Chelsea. I think because for them, they even have their owners are okay spending some kind of money. Because after you go back in the Champions League and all the amount of money you say, at least this time get it right. For example, Chelsea with the money they have, you've gone back to the Champions League. Last season you even had got a chiller title race. You come into this season, you go for the big names like any other team. Because we said it was
Statement
Zidane.
signing.
You go for Nico Williams, go for all those guys. Victor Osimhen,
Go for pure number 10.
go for Victor Osimhen. Then also look to buy the players that everyone is like, oh, we are looking at that. Because now, rather than going to buy whatever,
Like beat Man City to a player, beat Arsenal to a player.
You can as well have gone for that. Now, it's like their owner no Todd Bowley he wants like those kind of players. They are talented, but it keeps you on that same level. It's not going to take you to like the next level.
It's like when you substitute a player. It's like when you substitute Martinelli, and his substitute is I want to get a player that is Rashford. Almost like for like.
Yeah.
Ochitegera nga omanyi Rashford maybe aina finishing okusinga ya Martinelli. Ni ati ne defense bagenda bakutwala okufa obufi. Ochitegera, so it's a but you need to take off Martinelli when Rodrigo is the one coming on.
When Rodrigo
the defender is like, oh my God, now we have a job on our hands. You understand?
Has done very well for them in the Club World Cup, rightly so. So you expect that, okay, Pedro Neto has gotten into rhythm. If anything happens to Pedro Neto, omuntu abayina okumudirira like into Pedro Neto.
I know going to
but now they are going to be forced to bring Pedro Neto or Letoyo Madueke.
Even big names can't flow. You agree?
It's not about the big names,
no,
but
let me tell you, yes, the big talent
strategies matter.
Yes, the strategy matters. That is their strategy. But
what exactly is Chelsea's strategy? Buying João Pedro.
Why I'm defending for Dilap's case.
To me, Dilap is a very talented player.
Yes.
But similar to the system.
You cannot detect that.
No.
I have no problem.
Look at the games that he has played so far. More Club World Cup. It's not the Dilap that work with Ipswich.
Ipswich, yes. Again, Palma Chakwadem Club World Cup Chakadakwa Chelsea.
So in the Chanko, what do you think? What is the strategy? What do you think?
They're trying to improve their squad. Why I'm defending this Pedro thing is the fact that the rumor has it. Actually, it's close to very true that Nkuku is leaving. So if the replacement for Nkuku is João Pedro, it is okay. It is very fine with me because I know I'm saying Pedro has something that Chelsea has been lacking. It's not the majority bit of him. But
your dressing room ya Chelsea next season.
It's okay.
Producer kaka kafana nika zooming.
Actually, Chelsea move a second to bagula bandi. The fact that they are in all competitions, they need squads that a squad that is enough for them to play.
50 players squad.
It's enough for them for rotation, for player rotation.
The biggest problem with that. You can have player rotation, you can have squad depth. Those teams, they work more on chemistry. And some others that don't play. When are you going to get that chemistry? This person, this system can work in this format, in that format. That's the biggest problem with that squad.
I'm so bent on defending the João Pedro signing. Why? They are signed within the league. Talking about finding us so hard time to fit in. And that's, but let me tell you, what's other anti-Arabia? But squad here will never gonna buy a competing in all competitions.
Chabaina chibagenda kola. Era bagenda wangulo okopowa mu bwakalingi webitu.
One of Man Nottingham Forest later. Do you know why they dropped? It's because they played too many games, small squad, and they dropped. But these ones, their squad is at least a bit bigger. Champions League, he can rest for the next weekend game in the Premier League.
Kali,
and the window is still open.
Yes, let's give them more time, but for me that's my take.